The sky above the Relar homeworld was burning with purple light as the last defense satellite failed. From the cliffside tower, Elder Varen watched the flickering flames spread across the upper atmosphere. The pirate fleet, black-winged, skull-marked. Warships from the Korak Syndicate was closing in fast. The council chambers behind him trembled with every distant explosion. Screams echoed from the lowlands. Panic flooded every channel. No help was coming. The galactic powers had ignored their pleas, their requests, their diplomacy. The Relary were peaceful scholars, not warriors. For years they relied on trade, on trust, and the goodwill of larger empires. But now, when they were being hunted, enslaved, and burned alive, no one stood for them. Inside the ancient tower's lower vault, a small team of engineers worked feverishly. Dust rained down as another explosion shook the mountain. A young technician, barely of age, turned to Elder Varen with trembling hands. "The beacon, sir. It's ready." Elder Varen hesitated. The device before him was old, thousands of cycles old, salvaged from an alien ruin and kept sealed for centuries. No one truly knew who built it. Only the oldest records said it was used once. To summon a force even the strongest empires feared. The council had long forbidden it, claiming the cost was too high. But Varen saw no choice now. "Activate it," he said quietly. "Send the signal. Anywhere. To anyone who might hear us." The technician nodded and pressed the final sequence. The ancient beacon hummed to life. A pulse of deep blue light shot up into the clouds and vanished in two. The stars. A silent cry, an emergency broadcast sent on ancient frequencies, older than most of the known galaxy. It wasn't meant for common trade routes. It wasn't even meant for known allies. It was designed to reach the forgotten corners of the universe. Somewhere out there in the cold silence, something might still be listening, unknown to the Relary. That pulse tore through dead space past derelict mining rings, crossed dark nebulae, and into a hidden region long erased from galactic charts. It struck a massive object, silent, cold, and cloaked in the void. Inside that massive ship, deep beneath layers of armor and shielding, ancient Earthborn code activated. A voice, calm and monotone, echoed through the command core. "Distress signal received. Coordinates confirmed. Protocol 19B activated. Warfleet Omega rising." One by one, dozens of shadow black vessels stirred in the dark. They had been waiting for a signal. They had been waiting for centuries. Back on Ryler Prime, there was no sign anything had happened. The beacon fell silent again. Elder Varen sat alone in the wind, his face old with sorrow. "Even ghosts would be better than silence," he muttered. A flash lit the sky, then another. But these weren't pirate fire. They were strange, fast-moving shadows slicing through the clouds like knives. The pirates noticed too. For the first time, they paused. Their assault slowed as their sensors picked up something unknown, approaching fast, very fast. Within minutes, the skies broke open. From the clouds above, a massive vessel unlike anything the Relari or the pirates had seen descended with terrifying speed. It made no sound. It had no visible markings. It was built like a fortress, bristling with strange armor that shimmered in unnatural colors. Behind it, smaller ships followed, sleek, angular, moving in perfect silence and formation. They did not respond to any hails, not from the pirates, not from the Relary. The pirates panicked. One of the pirate dreadnoughts, the Iron Maw, opened fire. Its plasma bolts tore through the upper atmosphere, direct hits, but they never landed. Earth Fleet had already activated countermeasures. Without firing a single weapon, it shredded the pirate missiles midair with invisible kinetic drones. Then Earth struck back. From the belly of the lead warship, a silent beam of energy, precise and narrow, cut through the Iron Maw like paper. There was no explosion, just disintegration. The ship cracked in half, then vanished into vapor. Panic swept through the pirate fleet. They tried to scatter, but the Earth ships were already among them. No lights, no noise. Just one surgical strike after another. Within 20 minutes, pirate fleet that had crushed dozens of star systems was nothing but debris. Elder Varen stood speechless. "Who are they?" he whispered. The skies grew quiet. Single transmission echoed across the system. Every ship, satellite, and device relay and pirate alike received the same chilling message. It was delivered in perfect galactic common. But the voice was cold, mechanical, and undeniably human. This is not a rescue. This is judgment. You are not forgotten. You are observed. No name, no origin. It's just silence after the broadcast ended. Then, without speaking again, the Earth. Ships took formation above the relay capital. They remained in the sky, motionless, watching, not attacking, not leaving, just waiting. Alien news feeds exploded across the galaxy. Hidden sensors had picked up fragments of the battle. Footage of the unknown fleet spread fast. Analysts from the Veltrax Empire, the Kal Dominion, and the Trade Quadrant reviewed the footage in horror. It wasn't just the ships. It was their discipline, their lack of emotion, their overwhelming power. Only one ancient database had something similar. An entry dated 2 centuries ago. Humanity classified apex death world species. Lost, presumed. Extinct. But now they weren't lost. They certainly weren't extinct. On a research station, orbiting a distant world, a historian watched the footage and murmured, the stories were true. The Death Worlders are real, and they're angry. Back on Ryler Prime, children looked up at the sky where Earth's black ships floated like massive dark moons. Parents held them close, not out of fear of attack, but out of fear of what had awakened. Elder Varen stood at the cliffside again. The wind was colder now. The sky was darker. But his people were alive, saved. He closed his eyes. We called them. We broke the silence. Now we must live with what we summoned. Far away, in a secret command station deep inside the Earth flagship, human officers stood in silence. A woman in black armor turned to her crew. We're not here to make friends, she said. We're here to remind them that Earth remembers everything, and Earth never forgives. The relarized skies remained still for 3 days. The Black Earth fleet hovered silently above their cities like an omen. Massive ships casting long shadows over fields, oceans, and skylines. Their hulls shimmered with a dark reflective alloy that distorted light. Not a single weapon was visibly. The entire world knew they could wipe everything out in moments. Every attempt to contact the ships had failed. No replies, no signals. It's just silence, stillness, presence. It was more terrifying than open war. Across the galaxy, the arrival of Earth's warfleet ignited panic. Within hours, emergency sessions were called in the Galactic Council. Dozens of empires, trading alliances, and border world coalitions demanded answers. News anchors screamed across every star system. Earth responds to ancient signal. Is this the beginning of the end? The Relari broadcast their survival story to every known channel. Millions watched raw footage of Earth's ships tearing through pirate fleets with weapons no one could understand. Even empires with military histories 10 times longer than Earth's trembled in the deep halls of the Veltrax Empire. Supreme Strategist Jarnik leaned over a projection table showing Earth's formation. There's no chatter, no leaks. No internal comms, he muttered. Not even whispers from their machines. These ships were built to win wars before anyone else knows a war has started. A young officer beside him asked, "Should we make contact?" Jarnik shook his head. No, the only way to win against Earth is not to fight them at all. Farther out, in the neutral archive ring near the Tridorian system, ancient historians dug through restricted data. A silent file was unlocked, buried behind 2 centuries of red tape. It was a classified incident simply labeled Protocol Earthfall. In it, grainy footage showed an earlier version of Earth's fleet responding to a similar galactic call one, made 200 years ago by the old Shivari Empire. The Shivari had asked Earth for help in a war they couldn't win. Earth came. Earth ended the war in days. But the cost? The cost was a level of devastation that had turned 6 thriving planets into lifeless glass. Then Earth vanished. Many believed they'd been wiped out by the Coalition reprisals. But they hadn't. They'd gone dark. Hidden. Waiting. Watching back. On Riller Prime, the Rillery Council debated in whispers. What did Earth want? Why were they not speaking? Elder Veron, now hailed across his planet as a savior, stood before the gathered leaders. His voice was tired but steady. "They didn't come to talk," he said. "They came to finish something. We just don't know what that is yet." A junior counselor asked, "Then why save us?" Varen didn't answer for a long time. Finally, he said, "Because someone else failed to act, and they don't forgive failure." Suddenly, without warning, a new signal echoed through the system. It was deep, sharp, and unmistakably human. Every device on the planet, every receiver in orbit, every pirate remnant still alive, all received the same cold message. 4 words: evacuate all pirate forces, and then a pause, followed by, or be erased. The message repeated twice, then nothing. Across the remains of the Korak Syndicate, surviving pirate captains panicked. Their network scrambled to retreat. Some tried to cloak. Some tried to flee to the next sector. One ship, the Black Spear, attempted to jam the transmission and reply with a mocking message. Their crew broadcasted laughter and curses at Earth's fleet. 2 minutes later, they vanished from every radar. No explosion, no fireball, no wreckage. Just ... gone. In the hidden corner of a mercenary outpost in the Oran Drift. A pirate technician reviewed surveillance frames. He zoomed in on the last moments of the Black Spear. A strange object, tiny, metallic, and fast had entered their bridge room mid-broadcast. The moment it landed, everything went dark. It was not a missile. It was something else. A weapon never seen before. The technician backed away from his screen and whispered, "We are not fighting ships. We're fighting ghosts with blades." On a distant planet, a political commentator tried to explain the terror live on air. The thing people forget is that Earth is a death world. The species that survive there are born from violence. For them, survival means total dominance. They don't negotiate peace. They enforce silence. The Galactic Council scrambled to respond. A hasty message was drafted and broadcast toward the Earth fleet. It pleaded for conversation, for diplomacy, for understanding. There was no reply then. The Earth fleet moved. Thousands of kilometers above Ryler Prime, the formation shifted. The ships aligned into attack formation again, but this time, not toward the surface. Their guns turned toward space, toward the outer edge of the system, toward the final pirate holdouts in the asteroid belts. The pirates tried to run. It didn't matter. Earth's fleet unleashed a display of power so fast and precise that entire pirate installations, some hidden for decades, were vaporized within seconds. Not destroyed, erased. It was as if someone had taken a knife and sliced reality itself. There were no survivors, no signals, no messages. The Relary people watched from the surface with quiet horror and awe. Children cried. Priests fell silent. Warriors bowed their heads. Above them, humanity stood not as liberators, but as executioners. In a hidden outpost far from the Relari system, hooded figures stared at the chaos through long-range sensors. His eyes burned with fury. He was one of the few surviving members of the ancient alliance that had tried to conquer Earth long ago. "We should have finished them when we had the chance," he hissed. "Now they've returned, and they remember everything." A soft voice replied from the shadows. "Then we must disappear before they remember us." But Earth wasn't done yet. Back in orbit, a single Earth vessel separated from the main fleet. It dropped into low orbit above the Relary. Capital. On its side, for the first time, words appeared, shining red through the black metal. Not in any alien tongue, but in English. Observation continues. Justice in progress. The message pulsed slowly, again and again. Elder Varen stood once more at the cliff, looking at the hovering shadow above. "They didn't come to talk," he whispered again. "They came to make sure the galaxy never forgets what they are." High above, inside the lead Earth command ship, the Admiral stepped forward into the dark bridge. She looked down at the swirling images of fear, politics, and panic spreading through alien networks. With cold, calculating eyes, she gave her next order. "Mark the next targets. begins silent approach. No warnings. The human fleet turned toward new coordinates, toward those who had once helped the pirates behind the scenes. And Earth, ever silent, moved again. The pirates' stronghold in the Orcs asteroid belt had existed in shadows for over 70 years, hidden behind debris fields and cloaked mining operations. It had become a black market fortress where criminals thrived, weapons were traded, and warlords ruled freely. Here, the Orcs Syndicate's high command gathered in a deep space citadel carved into the largest asteroid known only as Blackhold. It had survived everything: bounty hunters, blockades, even a trade federation siege. The Syndicate believed it was untouchable, till the humans came. They never saw them arrive, no flashes, no hyperspace trails. No warnings. One moment the belt was empty. The next 28 Earth warships were already inside the asteroid. Field moving silently, impossibly fast, slipping between rocks with unnatural control. Their hulls bent radar. Their engines emitted no heat. It was as if shadows themselves had come to kill. Inside Blackhold, alarms screamed too late. Pirate commanders scrambled. Escape plans were activated. Fleets launched in panic. But it was all meaningless. The humans weren't coming to talk. They were coming to end. Without a single communication, Earth's fleet struck. The first to fall was the Syndicate's command tower. A kinetic weapon, no light, no sound, pierced straight through 10 layers of reinforced alloy and exited the other side without slowing. The tower cracked down the middle, fell inward, and collapsed into itself in one silent burst. Wow. No explosion. Just clean death. Seconds later, Earth's fleet moved again, no patterns. No delay, just coordinated annihilation. Drones the size of coins swarmed the Syndicate's escape ships. They didn't destroy engines. They slipped through ventilation shafts and targeted the crew inside. One after another, pirate vessels powered down and drifted, their crews already dead. The death was silent, surgical, and absolute. On the outer edge of the belt, a small fleet of bounty ships watched in horror. Captain Galen, a hardened mercenary who had seen 3 galactic wars, stared at his sensor screen in disbelief. "I can't even see their weapons," he whispered. "They're fighting like ghosts." His second-in-command shook his head. No, not ghosts. Machines trained by monsters. Across the galaxy, thousands of live feeds struggled to follow the attack. What little footage leaked out was blurry, corrupted, or simply terrifying. Alien military analysts tried to explain the impossible. How did Earth's fleet navigate a mine-infested asteroid belt without tripping a single trap? How did they kill pirates inside sealed ships without damaging the hulls? How did they destroy Blackhold without leaving a single piece of salvage? None of it made sense because it wasn't just war, it was domination. On Rylor Prime, the Relary, Council watched in stunned silence. The once proud pirates who had nearly destroyed their world were now being hunted like insects. Elder Varen looked up at the sky, where Earth's black warships still floated. "This is not protection," he said softly. "This is punishment." In a hidden system on the edge of known space, the remnants of the Orcs Syndicate tried to regroup. A former warlord named Drelsor screamed at his coms, "We'll fight. We still have 4 dreadnoughts. We'll send a message of our own." His officers didn't reply. Their faces were pale. Then a whisper came from the corner of the bridge. "They're already here." One by one, monitors across the warlord's ship blinked to black. Then a red human symbol appeared on each screena. Skull over Earth's map. Below it, a line of text. "Judgment arrives." Before Drell could issue a command, the ship split down the center. A single strike from orbit clean, invisible, exact. His dreadnought cracked in half, venting fire and bodies into the void. Number. Escape, no mercy. Back in the Galactic Council's core chamber, delegates from 100 species watched the footage in silence. Even the most aggressive empires, the Aethan Kings, the Xylar Crusade, the Iron Clans refused to speak first. It was Supreme Diplomat Karthos, of the Nelari, who finally whispered what they were all thinking. We are no longer the top of the food chain. Within hours, the Galactic Archive received thousands of new search requests. Earth weapons technology. Earth war history. What is a death world? But the data was limited. What little was known about Earth had been sealed away or erased. The humans themselves had vanished from the stars 2 centuries ago. Many believed they had died off. But now the truth was clear. Earth had gone dark. To prepare, somewhere deep in the heart of Earth's lead warship, Goliath 1 Admiral Sierra Monroe stood on a command platform, watching it all unfold in real time. She was tall, cold-eyed, with a voice like iron. Around her, Command A is End. Cybernetically linked officers operated with near-silent precision. She didn't need to shout orders. Everything was already planned. She stared at the screen, showing pirate ships burning across the Arelk belt. "We warned them," she said flatly. "Now we teach them." A junior officer turned. "The Korak Syndicate has no remaining command structure. What are your orders?" Admiral Monroe didn't blink. "We're not finished." These systems allowed piracy. They ignored the relayer's calls. They sold weapons to slavers. She turned toward the stellar map. "Bring justice to every enabler. One system at a time." The ships moved again. Now, it wasn't just pirates who were afraid. It was governments. Worlds that once traded with the Korak, stations that looked the other way, armies that accepted bribes. All across the galaxy, powerful leaders whispered the same question: are we next? Back on Ryler Prime, Elder Varen stood outside the Capitol Tower, looking into the night sky. The human ships were still there watching. He knew they wouldn't stay much longer. Earth had sent its message. The fear would stay forever. "They fight with silence," he said quietly. "They conquer without speaking. They remind the galaxy what true power looks like." From orbit, another signal pulsed out, slow, steady, and undeniable. Phase 1 complete. Beginning purge. The stars were quiet again, but the galaxy was not. Panic spread faster than light. Every major species, empire, trade union, and military alliance scrambled behind closed doors. The pirate threat was over. Yes, but what had replaced it was far more terrifying. Earth's fleet hadn't just destroyed the Korak Syndicate. They had erased them, their ships, their leaders, their worlds, their names. Whole networks vanished from galactic maps. And Earth never asked permission, never explained, never apologized. They didn't come back to join the galaxy. Came back to settle old debts in the great archive of Vale, deep inside the knowledge. Moons of the Nellery, ancient scholars unlocked sealed data vaults that hadn't been touched in over 2 centuries. The records were fractured and redacted, but something chilling emerged. The last official contact with Earth had occurred during the height of the galactic expansion era. 200 years ago. At the time, Earth was rising faster than any species in recorded history. They had mastered faster-than-light travel, adapted to hostile planets, fought off larger enemies with unpredictable brilliance. But that rise had scared the older powers. An uneasy alliance was formed. The Shivari Dominion, the Grell Consulate, and the powerful Jarrex Corps. Together, they made a decision behind closed doors. They would stop Earth before it became a threat. They launched a secret attack. Dozens of Earth colonies were bombed, terraforming stations were sabotaged, human diplomats were assassinated, but Earth didn't fall. Instead, they vanished. No distress calls, no retaliation, no survivors found. Just silence. Most believed Earth was destroyed in the chaos that followed. Others assumed they had turned inward, too broken to continue. But now the truth was clear. Earth had survived, and they had never forgotten. From deep in council space, a classified signal bounced across military channels. It was a recording found, embedded in an old trade satellite orbiting a dead star. The voice was human, cracked and cold. A final message left by Earth before their long disappearance. "We hear your silence. We know your betrayal. When we return, it will not be with words, it will be with memory." On the outer rim, hidden among ice worlds and radioactive storms, A former Jarix general named Salek watched the footage in horror. He had been one of the architects of the Earth attacks 2 centuries ago. Now he knew what was coming. He paced. Inside his bunker, his old war medals still pinned to his chest. "They were supposed to be gone," he muttered. "We struck first. They were finished." His aide interrupted him. "Sir, Earth just moved a fleet into the old Shivari system." Salek turned white. That was the final piece. The last empire that once struck Earth. The ghosts were returning. Home, in the diplomatic towers of the Trinari sphere, a panic vote was held. Delegates screamed, demanding a unified message to Earth. Something peaceful, something desperate. The motion passed with record speed. An encoded broadcast was sent. "Toward the Relary system, addressed directly to Earth's fleet, we recognize your sovereignty. We acknowledge your strength. Let us speak in peace, not fire." Earth did not reply. Instead, they sent another fleet, not toward the Relary this time, but toward the Shivari ruins. A system long dead since the Collapse War. Sensors caught flashes of movement, dozens of black ships rising from behind dust clouds and gas giants. There were no broadcasts, no declarations. But the message was clear to every historian who studied Earth's past. Earth was cleaning the wound, one empire at a time. Inside the central ship, Goliath 1, Admiral Sierra Monroe studied old data. Feeds. The faces of ancient enemies blinked across her interface. Aliens' long-dead governments, long collapsed. But Earth's memory didn't forget. "They wanted us gone," she said to her AI strategist. "They wanted us erased. So now, we erase their legacy." The AI, cold and brilliant, responded. "Phase 2 targets locked. Estimated time to galactic stability, 14 cycles." On Ryler Prime, Elder Varen received a private transmission. Came through a secure channel that hadn't been used in over 100 years. The voice was human but ancient, tired, calm. "You are not the enemy, Relari. You were abandoned, as we were." Responded to a call for justice, not alliance. "Do not speak of peace. Speak of truth." Varen trembled as he replayed the message. There was no hatred in the voice-only memory. Memory so sharp it could cut. The stars. The galaxy realized something horrifying. Earth had spent 200 years, evolving without interference. Their science had surpassed known limits. Their weapons weren't just advanced, they were impossible. Their strategy wasn't just intelligent, it was emotionally cold. They weren't fighting for conquest, they were fighting for memory. They had become a force of nature, and they were not done. At a press conference on the trading world of Galmera, a nervous journalist asked a Veltrax ambassador, "Can we stop them?" The ambassador didn't hesitate. "No, but maybe we can survive them." On the political forums of the outer colonies, a viral message appeared written in human standard code. No source, no identity. It's just the following. You wanted Earth to be quiet, it was. You wanted Earth to be gone. It hid. You wanted Earth to forget, but we remember. In the mining colonies of the Aran Belt, where the Shivari once enslaved humans, Earth's fleet landed in silence. No soldiers emerged. Only drones. They scanned everything. Uploaded ancient files. Located old facilities. Then one by one, the mines were vaporized from orbit. In their place, Earth dropped strange black obelisks monuments with no explanation. Just 4 words etched into every surface. "We are not extinct." Back on Ryler Prime, a child asked her, "Mother, are the humans gods?" The mother shook her head. "No, worse, they're survivors." From the shadows of the galaxy, other species watched. Some saw hope, some saw doom. But all agreed Earth had returned not to join but to correct. And if they were ghosts with fire in their veins and justice in their hands. Admiral. Monroe looked out from her warship at the growing trail of dead empires and erased histories. "This isn't revenge," she said. "This is balance." The skies above the former slave world of Vexor burned with a cold blue light as Earth's fleet moved into position. There were no warning shots, no demands, no diplomats. Earth did not bargain. It did not explain. It acted. Below, on the gray, dust-choked surface, powerful towers once used to chain entire species were reduced to molten slag within seconds. The old slave lords of the Shivari Empire, long thought to be extinct, had been hiding here, running illegal labor camps with the help of black market syndicates. Now they were being hunted from orbit. Earth's strike drones spread like locusts, fast, silent, unstoppable. They didn't attack civilians. They didn't touch hospitals or children. But if a name appeared on Earth's Justice Archive, a signature, matched a war crime from 200 years ago, the sentence was immediate: eradication. A war criminal named Solon Vrek tried to flee in a stealth cruiser, jumping to light speed only. Seconds before the fleet arrived, but Earth was already ahead of him. Mid-jump, his ship was intercepted by a human interdictor, a ship that bent gravity itself to collapse his route. He never arrived at his destination. His ship vanished into folded space. Gone. No debris. No trace. No one ever heard of Solon Vrek again. Across the galaxy, fear twisted into paranoia. Higher governments began digging through their own classified archives, searching for any record of past betrayal against Earth. Regimes that had once mocked humanity now ordered their historians to cleanse databases. Political leaders held emergency summits, begging for anyone to speak to Earth. But Earth didn't speak. Earth hunted, and the galaxy watched, powerless in the Veltrax system. A nervous admiral from the Trade Corps stood before his War Council. "They are not claiming territory," he said. "They are not building colonies. They are not here to rule." He paused, trembling. "They are here to punish." Elsewhere, in a drifting science station near the broken moons of Karn, a group of alien researchers finally decoded the meaning behind Earth's attack pattern. It wasn't random. It was methodical. Every target matched crimes committed during the Great Silence era. When the galaxy turned its back on Earth, entire systems that had profited from human suffering were being marked. The researchers uploaded a report to the Galactic Council. Its title, "The Pattern of Vengeance Back on Ryler Prime." Elder Varen received another anonymous transmission. It contained a list of names, hundreds of them. Pirates, politicians, generals, each one marked with a red line, a warning. Varen understood these were the next targets. Earth wasn't just striking, it was cleaning. He called an emergency meeting. "Of the Relary Council, we must not hide the truth," he told them. "These people were our enemies too. We let them thrive. We closed our eyes. Now, Earth forces us to look again." The council was afraid. One elder asked, "But what if Earth decides we're guilty too?" Varen shook his head. "Then we face it. Because Earth's judgment isn't about fear, it's about memory. And memory doesn't lie." At the edge of a distant red star, Earth's warfleet hovered silently above the ruins of the former Jarek's core. These were the monsters who orchestrated the first bombing of Earth's outer colonies. The Jareks had vanished after the collapse of their empire, their leaders hiding in forgotten systems. But Earth found them. One by one, they were not given trials. They were not given last words. They were given extinction. One exiled Jarek's official attempted to broadcast a plea for mercy, was jammed before it could leave his system. His final act was witnessed only by Earth's AI command, who noted the location, verified the identity, and authorized immediate elimination. A beam of cold plasma turned his mountain bunker into a crater the size of a city. No mercy. No delay. In a secret meeting within the Galactic Council's darkest chamber, leaders of multiple races finally admitted the truth. "We created this," said High Speaker Mullen of the Okar. "We thought we had broken Earth. We forgot what they were made of," Call General responded, voice shaking. "They come from a planet that burns, drowns, freezes, and hunts its own children. We gave that planet time. And now it is returned with teeth made of stars. One proposal was made: unite, not to fight, but to apologize." A signal was crafted. A shared message, written in every major language of the galaxy, was broadcast toward the human fleet. "We acknowledge the crimes against Earth. We ask for dialogue. We seek to learn, not resist. The humans responded with silence. But then a signal did arrive, not a message. A list, names, coordinates, crimes, dates. Earth didn't want apologies. Earth wanted results. The implication was clear. Deal with your war criminals. Turn them over. Earth will come for them themselves. Suddenly, dozens of governments began, arresting former allies, generals, and politicians. High lords were dragged from mansions. Commanders were handed over to their own people for judgment. It was the beginning of a galactic purge, not by war, but by the fear of what would happen if they didn't comply. A new law was forming, one that no one had voted for, one that no species controlled. The law of the dead world. Earth, a planet, once ignored and forgotten, now shaped policy across the stars without speaking, without showing their faces. Without holding a single chair in the council, back on Goliath 1, Admiral Monroe stood in the observation chamber. Below her, a glass screen showed the endless wreckage of fallen empires. Her officers moved like shadows, efficient and silent. She did not smile. She did not celebrate. "This isn't about revenge," she said. "This is about memory made into action. Let the galaxy burn its own rot. We only light the match." In the quiet far away, a signal pulsed through the void, measured, rhythmic, in perfect galactic common. Justice delivered. Next phase begins. And Earth's fleet turned again toward the great capitals of the old alliance that once tried to break humanity. They weren't just responding to a signal anymore. They were answering a debt of blood and Earth always collects. In the great floating halls of the Galactic Council, orbiting the shimmering jewel of Arathian Prime, leaders from 100 systems sat in grim silence. The chamber, once a place of politics and power, was now filled with fear. Holograms flickered. Overhead, showing destruction across the stars. Pirate strongholds burned. Slave empires dissolved. Whole worlds once protected by bureaucracy and corruption were erased from the map. Behind it all, the same presence loomed. Earth, the humans, had not asked for recognition. They had not sought vengeance in the usual way. They had not claimed territory, nor demanded submission. But what they had done was worse than conquest. They had forced the galaxy to obey without speaking a word. The Council's high speaker, four-armed Dovari named Theros, slammed a trembling fist on the crystalline podium. "We must send a delegation to Earth. At once. This cannot continue." Murmurs of agreement passed through the chamber, but none dared speak first. No one wanted to be the one who reached out and was ignored or worse. Noticed. On the outer rim, Earth's black fleets continued their methodical purge. Any system that had benefited from the crimes of the old anti-Earth alliance was targeted. Silent drones scanned records, traced transactions, followed bloodlines. There was no emotion in their strikes. It's only precision in the wealthy merchant. World of Cultress. Earth's ships appeared without warning. The surface, rich with gardens and golden towers, had once hosted auctions where stolen human children were sold like exotic pets. The buyers had long grown old. Some were dead. Earth found the archives, found the logs, found the descendants still holding their wealth. The strike came at dusk. Orbital beams sliced through private fortresses. Automated palaces collapsed in molten flame. The Cultress government begged for mercy. Earth gave them silence. Only one message was left behind, etched into the side of a ruined building in burning plasma. "We remember your prophets." Back in the council chamber, a new voice spoke, this time from the Jernathi cluster. A species known for its logic, its treaties, its politics. "If Earth wanted to rule, they already would," the delegate said. "They are not interested in thrones. They're interested in correction. And they are not asking for permission." Another delegate shouted from his platform. "Then what do they want?" The chamber erupted again in Gar. Fear, confusion. Someone suggested building a new fleet. Someone else called for surrender. One ambassador screamed, "Appease them," offered them a seat on the council. But Earth did not wait for the vote. Far from the council's reach, In the Charnock Systeman, old mining colony that once funded the weapons used against Earth, a new kind of ship arrived. It was not a battleship. It was a sentinel taller than cities, shaped like a blade carved from starlight. It hovered in silence above the mines for 3 days. No crew, no hails, just watching. Then it began to glow. The glow grew brighter, hotter, until the entire sky turned white, and then the mines were gone. Nothing was taken. Nothing was looted. Earth wanted nothing from Charnox except one thing, that it no longer exists. This wasn't war. It was historical editing and deletion of everything Earth had once suffered. Inside Goliath 1, Admiral Monroe received updates. Without emotion, stood beside her AI commander, watching system after system fall in line. The Council still debates, the AI noted. They do not understand our motives. Monroe nodded slowly. Let them talk. Don't answer to words. We answer to history. The AI paused. New intercept detected. Alliance remnants attempting to form a united defense force. Monroe didn't blink. Show me. A map expanded. Across the bridge, highlighting scattered fleets from former anti-Earth powers, the Grell remnants. The Jarrex holdouts, rogue call mercenaries. They were forming a defensive wall around the Telron-Bordera region. Earth hadn't touched. Yet, a junior officer looked up nervously. Should we send a warning? Monroe's lips tightened. They already had one 2 centuries ago. She turned back to the screen. Proceed. That night, the border wall vanished. Not a single shot from Earth's fleet was caught on video. No one even saw the strikes. But by morning, the Telron systems were silent. Ow. Trade collapsed. The Council wept. Back on Arathian Prime, the Council chambers fell into chaos. We must find Earth's terms, someone shouted. What do they want? What are they after? But there were no terms. Because Earth wasn't seeking peace. They weren't seeking control. They were restoring something they believed had been broken. Trust, honor, memory, on Ryler Prime. Elder Varen met with Earth's representative for the first time, not in person, but as a projection of light in a quiet forest outside the capital. The figure was a woman. Tall, silent, armored in black. She didn't speak until Varen asked the only question that mattered. Why? The projection answered without expression. Because when we screamed, the galaxy turned away. Now, we make sure no scream goes unheard again. Varen bowed his head. You've made your point. But the woman shook hers. Not yet. And then she vanished. From the shadows of the stars, other species watched Earth's justice unfold with quiet horror. Some began to surrender, preemptively handing over war criminals to unknown coordinates, sending reparations to human colonies, praying they would be spared. Earth did not respond. Some they spared, some they did not. There was no logic. No pattern anyone could understand, except Earth's own, in a hidden chamber beneath the old capital of the Grell Republic. A child discovered an ancient human artifact, buried beneath stone. It was a pendant, shaped like Earth's continents. On the back were simple words carved in English. We only wanted to belong. And now they no longer asked. They took their place not beside the galaxy, but above it. The stars were quiet. For the first time in months, Earth's black war fleet halted. No new systems burned. No new targets vanished. The destruction stopped, not because of surrender, but because Earth willed it. And across the galaxy, billions held their breath, waiting for what came next. In the central chamber of the Galactic Council, silence fell over the delegates as an encrypted signal appeared different from the others. It pulsed once, then again. Then it unlocked itself. A projection filled the sky. It was Earth, not a drone, not a warship, not a faceless AI. It was a human. The figure stood tall in matte black armor. The seal of old Earth emblazoned over the chest, a fractured globe wrapped in barbed steel. A woman, face half covered by a tactical visor, stared out at the galaxy. Through the Council's master feed, her voice was calm, unshaken, sharp as a blade. This is Commander Alina. Voss, Admiral of the Goliath Line, bearer of the Earth Memory Protocol. The chamber trembled. Many had believed Earth had no living leaders, that all decisions were made by code and algorithms. But now, a living face stared back at them, and it did not blink. We have watched you. For 2 centuries, Earth remained silent, not because we were weak, but because we were rebuilding, alone, in darkness, in silence. While your empires traded the names of our dead, she took a single step forward. Her visor flickered, revealing cold human eyes. We remember. Every colony you burned. Every child sold. Every lie you told to hide it. We begged for help. You laughed. We sent peace envoys. You executed them. We asked to join your civilized galaxy, and you locked the door. A new hologram appeared beside her, Earth itself. Blue, stormy, hardened. We are not here to conquer. We are not here to rule. We are here to ensure this never happens again. The room fell utterly still. You may debate. You may plea. You may hide your guilt behind words like policy and trade and protocol. But we are not asking. We are acting. There'll be no more relay moments, no more slave syndicates, no more silence. She looked down for a long moment. Then she said what the galaxy feared most. We are building a wall. Diffused murmurs echoed through the council. Commander Voss continued, not of stone, not of steel, but of memory. Every war criminal, every traitor to life, every system that thrived on the suffering of the forgotten, they will be cut off. Their coordinates locked, their stars quarantined, their names erased. Projection shifted, showing a map of systems outlined in red. Hundreds of worlds, thousands of names. These zones are condemned. Trade with them, and you will be marked. Defend them, and you will be silenced. Council Speaker Thoros rose in panic. You do not have that authority. Commander Voss didn't look at him. She didn't need to. We are not asking for authority. We are enforcing consequence.
Ow.
Screen behind her now showed images of shattered pirate fleets, collapsing war palaces, and the broken weapons of old empires. Then it showed survivors' children rescued from slaver worlds, reviews from silenced colonies, those Earth had protected without thanks. You want to fear us? But it was your silence that birthed us. It was your cruelty that forged us. Now, your guilt will never again be forgotten. Her final words came slowly, each one like a blade driven into the past. This is your final warning. Do better, or disappear. The feed cut. Across the galaxy, the silence that followed was louder. Than any war in trading hubs, smugglers fled. In backroom governments, leaders destroyed records. Old enemies tried to erase their crimes before Earth arrived. But it was too late. Earth already had the data, the memory, the truth. On the outer rim, a small planet that once hosted a forgotten human outpost, abandoned and scavenged, woke to find Earth had rebuilt it. Automated drones planted forests, terraformers spun air into life. A single plaque was placed at its heart. Here once stood the forgotten, now remembered forever. Meanwhile, in the command deck of Goliath 1, Admiral Monroe watched the reactions stream in. Some species vowed to change, others braced for war. Some vanished into the deep dark, hoping never to be found. She turned to her AI commander. Begin the final wave. The AI pulsed. Confirmed. Operation Oblivion is live. Across the condemned zones, black ships moved silently again. No speeches. No fire. Just deletion. And as the galaxy scrambled to understand what it had awakened, Earth's fleet sent one last message transmitted through every channel, language, and signal path known. We are not vengeance. We are the voice you silenced. We are the memory you buried. We are never going away again. The stars turned red dot across the condemned zones. Earth's black fleet arrived in silence. No war drums, no banners, no messages. Just an overwhelming presence. In every orbit, the same thing occurred. Civilizations that had once mocked Earth, that had stolen from them, experimented on their people, enslaved their children, they now stared up at the dark shapes above their skies, and they knew there would be no mercy. There would be no more warnings. The operation had one name: Oblivion. Inside, the heart of Goliath 1, Admiral Sierra Monroe, stood before her final target map. It stretched from the forgotten colonies of the Outer Rim to the throne worlds of the broken empires. She spoke not to her officers, but to history itself. We gave them time, gave them the truth. They buried it. Now we bury them. No ceremony followed. The Earth fleet moved like shadow, precise and absolute. Drones the size of insects infiltrated data towers. Atmospheric blades carved war factories in half without touching civilians. Memory cores were ripped from vaults, scanned and obliterated. On the dying world of Shur 3, where the last Jarrek's nobles lived in secrecy, a single Earth's obelisk appeared overnight. No ship, no movement. Just a pillar of black alloy, with 2 words carved in glowing white: "Time's up." And by morning, Shur 3 was gone, not destroyed, removed. As if it had never been there. Across the galaxy, signals flooded the air. Begs, pleas, prayers. Earth did not respond, they did not negotiate. And still, they did not gloat. There were no speeches, no videos, no propaganda, because Earth wasn't here to win. They were here to end what had never been made right. On Rylar Prime, Elder Varan watched the sky and wept not, in fear, but in understanding. They did not want revenge, he whispered to the wind. They wanted justice. Now they deliver. It cold, sharp, and final. The council tried once more to convene. Dozens of delegates didn't show up. Some systems had been erased. Others had sealed their borders in terror. The few that remained asked the same question again and again. What do the humans want us to do now? But Earth had already given its answer, remember? On the former slave planet of Dalthor's edge, the survivors of a long-forgotten rebellion found Earth drones dropping supply, crates, food, medicine, power cores. One survivor looked up at the black ship above and whispered, "Why help us?" A hologram flickered to life with a simple response, "Because no one helped us." Across the stars, Earth's final judgment unfolded, not in rage, but in cleansing. Systems were not just punished, they were reset. Old power structures were erased. Corrupt trade hubs dismantled. False histories burned from the archives. And everywhere Earth went, left behind a single monument, each one identical, tall, dark, unyielding, on the base. Always the same words. "We are Earth. We came when you turned away. We remembered what you forgot. We will not forget again." Then, as suddenly as it began, the fleets vanished. Gone. No victory broadcast. No flag planted. Just silence. But it was not the silence of fear. It was the silence of completion. In the aftermath, the galaxy began to rebuild. But everything had changed. New alliances rose, built on fairness, on truth. Corruption no longer had shadows to hide in. The word Earth was no longer used in threat, but in promise. Children on distant planets asked their teachers, "Did the humans really come back?" The answer was always yes. And when they did, they reminded the galaxy who we're supposed to be. Admiral Monroe stood alone on a quiet deck. Her fleet finally docked in orbit above Earth. Below, the blue planet turned slowly in the dark, scarred, strong, reborn. An officer approached her. "It's done, ma'am. The last system is clear." Monroe nodded, then whispered, "Let them remember." Earth turned off its weapons, not because it was finished, but because it didn't need to raise its voice again. It had already spoken, and it had become the last word.